Coach, it's good to have you here with us again. We got a visit about a month ago, and boy, it just it keeps on rolling. The Big 12 tournament is over here. Another successful hosting of the Big 12 championships here in Waco. The selection show on Monday, and then the postseason looms. So just want to start off by asking you right now, how are you all making the most of this time as you, as you kind of get ready for what's ahead, a stage on which this team has performed so well in the past?
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, you've got to find that balance of giving them some time to rest. There's, from the very beginning of the year all the way until now, there's really never a free weekend. And so for us, really find an opportunity to give them a few days to just step away from the tennis court, to get out of the Herd Center. It's really hard to get them out, to take a little break.
You like that as a coach?
Yeah, I do. I love how much they want to be around and how much they want to be together, and just always looking for ways to fellowship and then also to improve themselves. But just to take a little mental break. So we've been able to give them a few days there, and then this is also an opportunity the back half of this week to really push them, knowing that they don't have to compete this weekend. So we're doing some team building stuff. We're going to do some community service. We're doing some individual work on the court. Some great work on the court and in the gym with our strength and conditioning staff. And so try to get the mental break, but then push for a few days, and then understanding that once we find out where we're either if we're going to host on Monday or if we're going to be traveling, we kind of lock in on getting ready to compete again.
Yeah, the selection show on Monday, and obviously we know that there's going to be postseason tennis here with the Tennis Nationals being held in May. Obviously, no stranger to hosting big events here. Lots of regionals, lots of Big 12 tournaments. But just curious, as you think about, just pulling off something like a Big 12 championship and a national championships here, how great of a trial run was that for everyone? How did everything go just hosting all these different teams here in Waco and making it a great event?
We've hosted so many things this year. It's really been an amazing effort. Jackie Haddock is just next level as a director of operations, is just, kind of the head honcho of the Herd Tennis Center, and I don't think any of this is possible without her. The incredible support from our administration. I mean, Kenny Boyd's been amazing at heading it up, and just the boots on the ground. Sierra Gresham, Josie Hutton, Colin Pirtle, Max Goches, Sarah Defenbach. I mean, they've been awesome, really, and it's cool. I mean, we're biased. We're Baylor. We're hosting it. Like, it's always nice for us.
Yeah.
But to hear from the Big 12 officials, to hear from all the different coaches saying just this is the best run event they've ever been a part of because of the people. It is an unbelievable facility. We had good weather. Everything went very smoothly, but the people really do make the difference. And we have special people here at Baylor, and so I think it went really well. We've obviously had a couple of opportunities early in the year with the NCAA individual championships and then the national indoor team event on the men's side. But we had 25 teams here, 16 on the women's side and 9 on the men's side, so it was a lot. And even just being able to partner with the Waco Regional Tennis Center, just their attention to detail, getting the courts resurfaced to match ours, man, it's not a small deal. Yeah. And to have those opportunities, I think that will also pay dividends when we move into the national championships. It really feels like we've done it right. And it was unfortunate that both of our teams, we had good wins, we had exciting wins, we lost some really heartbreaking matches in the semis, but so would have loved to have seen some finalists from us or to play for the championship. But I thought it was really well done, and super proud of everybody that was involved.
A great team effort for sure, and more to come here. I think the people know Waco and Baylor in the college tennis world, and it's going to shine. It's going to shine again here in May for sure.
Absolutely.
Visiting with Coach Michael Woodson here on the Baylor Coaches Show. So let's start off really broadly here. You all have been tested with a tough schedule, a top 20 schedule in the nation. The Big 12's always good. Broadly, how would you describe the season as it's kind of prepared you for what's ahead, turning the page into postseason?
Yeah, I mean, we've taken some really great steps moving from the past year to this year. We're very clearly one of the best 15 teams in the country. We've lost one tough match to Arizona State that's not a top 10 team.
And you got them back the very next match.
And we've beaten them handily 4-0 the next 2 times we played them. And so outside of that, we have legitimately not lost to a team outside the top 10, not once. So we have 9 losses to top 10 teams.
Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot of top 10 games. For starters.
Say top 20 schedule in the country. We have the number 1 schedule in the country. With just the way it broke out, and that's exactly what we want here. And unfortunately, a couple of those close matches didn't go our way. I think we let a couple slip out of our hands. The match against Arizona was no different there, but we've continued to get up off the mat. When we get hit, and knocked down, our guys are getting up. They're working harder. They're improving. They're understanding where they fell short, and they're looking to make positive change together. And so I'm really encouraged by that. I know our ranking is probably not quite where we want it to be, where we know for sure we're going to host, where we're comfortable. We might have to go somewhere where it's hard, to get out of that regional. But this team is not going to be a stranger to whoever we have to play, to high-level competition. And I think we're knocking on the door of getting over the hump against a top 5 team. And I'm just hopeful that they can do it this year, because I know as we move forward, like the bones on this team is national championship caliber as we move into the future years. But this team deserves to do it now, and so I'm excited to see if they can.
Well, they've obviously, as you said, been tested. So I'm curious, this team, to be tested with a schedule like that, you got to kind of, I guess you don't always know how they're going to handle it, but you have a sense how they can handle it. Well, how is this team, what have you seen in them, the way they've adapted, embraced that challenge, and the way they've grown from it?
They're just not shying away from hard, and I think that takes a collective effort. And you have groups of guys that or girls and teams that really like each other, but when things get hard, are they going to hold each other accountable? Are they going to hold the mirror up to each other and say, hey, this is what it really looks like right now. Don't tell yourself anything else. When it gets difficult, it takes really, truly strong bonds to actually want to get in there and give hard truths to each other. And the coaches are always willing to say it or going to tell you, but you're going to learn a lot more and be much more willing to listen to your brother, your teammate, your roommate, somebody that you're spending all of your time with that truly cares about you for more than just wanting to win and lose a tennis match. And so our guys have been able and willing to do that more than I've seen.
That's great.
And it's a really special group, and they're all doing it together. And so these guys are able to move forward at a faster rate when they have that kind of accountability, and it's special to see that they're willing and able to push each other in those ways. I think it's not easy to get over the hump and start doing that. I've encouraged these guys for years, the last 3 years probably, to do this, and it's this year that they've started really doing it. You've got to get the right culture, you've got to get the right people on the bus, and you got to get the right guys in the right seats on that bus. And so they seem to be there right now, and I think when you have that type of culture, the sky's the limit.
Well, you talk about that culture. Let's talk about some of the guys on the team. Let's start off. And I know if I start asking about individual players, we're going to leave someone important out. But we'll dive into that anyway. Let's start with some of the all-tournament selections from the Big 12 tournament. Talk about Oscar and Alexandria. So let's start right there. Luke, Devin. So who are some of the guys who have really led on this year for the team?
Yeah, it has been a team effort. We've certainly leaned on our senior captains, Oscar and Marco, a lot this year. They've stepped up in a big way, and obviously they've had a ton of success in doubles together, leading the charge at number 1. And I thought it really came to a head this weekend. I mean, they absolutely blew 2 very good teams off the court. Arizona State's number 1 and Arizona's number 1, teams that they had previously lost to, that they absolutely killed in those 2 sets. So rightfully deserving of the all-tournament team at number 1 doubles. Devin and Luke are probably the best number 2 team in the country. They showed that again this weekend. And I think, Devin is... he's playing number 1. He's playing the guy who played from Arizona this weekend is 150 in the world right now. Wow. He's the highest ranked player that's been in college in a very, very long time. He's beaten, I think, 10 top 100 players this year. It's pretty incredible what that guy's doing. And Devin was a very, very high level match. He's right there. And so he's continuing to progress and carrying the load up top. And at his age as a sophomore, it's really very impressive. He's got an incredibly bright future. So super proud of him. And Alex, He's grown a ton. He's come in. He's just an animal of a competitor. Not necessarily used to all the different conditions that are thrown at him. The college setting, all the playing on hard courts. I mean, in Romania, you play on clay pretty much all the time. Altitude, indoors, doubles, things that he's just not as used to. He's just been willing to take on, and is just really done nothing but win for us in the middle of the lineup this year, and has stepped in at 3 doubles and complimented Jambor very, very well. So really impressed by him. And I think the one that, Jambor, he got a lot of attention his first 2 years, and this year he's playing 3 singles, which is a spot or 2. I mean, this past weekend he played 2, but he's been playing 3 for a lot of the year, and he's played 3 doubles at a time where in the past he's played number 1 doubles. He's won up until Saturday. I think he'd won 12 or 13 matches in a row in singles. Undefeated in Big 12 play. He's won a ton in a row at 3 doubles, really carrying that spot for us. And so a little under the radar for us, but doing just a fantastic job. So I would say those guys that have really stood out, for us as the leaders of the pack.
You mentioned Alex. I'm curious. You see this more in sports, a mid-year transfer, right? What's it been like? What's it like integrating someone to the team, to the university, to a whole new place as the treadmill's going, right? You're competing at the same time. What's that adjustment been like for him, and how have you seen him grow?
It's not easy. I mean, and he's coming from undergraduate in Romania. Yeah. So coming to grad school in the United States and never lived outside of Romania, really hasn't competed much outside of just that region. It's not easy at all for him, for anyone to come, even at a special family-oriented place like Baylor, where I feel like, man, this place is amazing. Why wouldn't you want to be here? It's still an adjustment to be away from family, to be away from the comforts that you're used to he's 22, so for 22 years of your life. But honestly, I mean, for us, we've had some very influential mid-year enrollees each year. Devin was a January enrollee last year. We've had, Adrian, Matthias, some of our previous All-Americans, Finn Bass. All of those guys came in January. And so it happens pretty much every year. And it's a little bit unusual maybe from the outside, but for us, it feels like something very normal. Luke came in January as well. And so the guys are used to it, and they understand how hard it is, and they know, okay, we've got this core group of guys. When this guy comes in, we're going to wrap our arms around him and make sure, like, we all know what's going on, we understand it, so we're going to help him really ramp up fast. And you have about 12 days before your first match, so and they need him, so we need him to be firing, and it's not easy. I mean, the first few days for every guy, especially like we go to Palm Springs, it's beautiful, but it's hard, for these guys, and they feel like a fish out of water, but the other guys do a fantastic job of helping them.
Part of that culture you talk about with this team.
For sure.
Yeah. Visiting with Coach Michael Woodson, talking men's tennis. The postseason beckons for men's tennis. The selection show is on Monday. Let's pivot a little bit. I want to ask you. We've talked to you on this program before, and it's funny. You start out here, you're an assistant, an interim, and all of a sudden you're kind of a veteran coach now in a lot of ways. I'm curious, as you look back at your time here, are there some ways that stand out to you that you've seen yourself grow or change as a coach, and some things that you think, here we are in 2025 after going back a few years? What are some ways you feel like you've grown in this role and are embracing kind of new challenges in it?
Well, I just got asked if my brother, who's 19, is my son. So, I think that's one way that I'm growing up. I guess I'm looking old, it's pretty amazing to look back on the past 9 years.
They're reeling over there behind the camera. Yeah, as well they should. Yeah.
And my brother will watch this for sure and laugh. And so It goes by, it goes by really fast. It's incredible to look back. We were telling stories about, some of the first few years I was here, even at practice today, and I think back, I'm like, man, I can't believe, how quickly 2016, 2017, 2018 goes by. I mean, to think that my kids, weren't born. I wasn't married. I wasn't, all these different things. So much can happen in such a short amount of time. But at the same time, you have so many amazing experiences that it can feel, depending on the day, that it has been a long time. I mean, I remember when I was like brand new, and Mac and I started on the same day, and I remember that first speech from him. I thought, this is unbelievable. I'm so new. I don't know what's going on, and now I feel like I'm like, man, I don't know any of these people that work around here. Like it's crazy to be one of the veterans. I have no idea what it's like to be Jackie, who's been here. She's probably the longest tenured person here almost, and so it's pretty amazing. But just the opportunity to grow here, not just as a coach, as a professional in this business, but to grow as a person, as a man of faith, as a husband, as a father. I mean, you're just surrounded by so many incredible people at Baylor, not just the staff members, not just the other coaches, but the community. Those that pull, the supporters of Baylor, the alums, just the individuals that live around us and support our university and our athletic department. They all have just poured so much into me and to my family that it's just a special place that I love so much, that I can't imagine being able to grow and develop into the person and the coach that I am anywhere else. And so it goes by fast, clearly, but it's fun as well. I mean, nothing else I'd rather do.
Well, I laugh because you said it goes by fast, clearly, and I think about them, Joe, you're laughing about your brother being your son. I remember the first time someone asked me if I had a kid on a team, and I was like, oh, guess I'm looking a little bit older here, but we're visiting with Coach Michael Woodson. I think, you talk about, obviously, you have played people like Coach Moore have been here 25 years in softball. You're on your way to that point, but you've coached in a national championship. You've navigated a pandemic. You've navigated changes in college athletics, and yet the standard of the program never changes. It's always a high standard that you have to meet. And I'm curious for you, what do you enjoy about that, and what are the ways that challenges and pushes you as a coach?
I want to be pushed. Challenges for me are what motivates me. I mean, I love the opportunity to be at a program that demands success. That is the standard. That is what we recruit to. That is what we're trying to do every single day. And the opportunity to build a program, that to make it better, and to have the resources and the staff around us that are all in on making it better too, to where every single day we can try to do something that will move it towards being a perennial national champion. That's my goal for this program. I will settle for nothing less than that, and the opportunity to do that that's not available everywhere. There's very few schools actually and programs that would be able to do that, and so for me, it's not my program. I'm just the steward of it right now, and the standard has been set by all of the players and coaches and staff that have built this thing up over the years, and in this current situation, I'm the one that is being held accountable to the standards of the program, and I do not want to let that slip. I want to continue to build on the amazing legacy of those that came before us, and continue to try to lift it to newer heights.
Look, we've seen that for sure, and we'll continue to as we visit with Michael Woodson. I got to ask you, Kenny Boyd shared that you're an avid reader. That that's one way you, I guess, keep mentally sharp, kind of keep challenging yourself in different ways. So, do you have for us? Are there some Hall of Fame books for you that you think myself and anyone watching, listening right now should check out?
I really thought you were going to ask me what I'm reading right now.
Okay,
well, I'm going to go. I'll answer both.
Okay,
I'll answer my own question. This is not teed up. Nobody told me to say this for anybody that's watching, but I am currently reading Once Around the Track by our old track coach. Or Once Around is Enough, or whatever the name is. I mean, it is incredible. I'm addicted, and I'm trying to get through it in 1 week, and it's really hard in the current time of year that we're in.
Sure.
With the family and the team, but amazing stories, and it's awesome. It's just it makes you really think, man, like I can't imagine spending 57 years in coaching, and then how you become shaped by all of your experiences and what Clyde went through, and then to be able to reflect on that. There's so much to learn from him, and I'm about halfway through, so I've got a little work to do, but it's a pretty cool book. But the best books I've ever read, Good to Great, is incredible, and it talks about what took good companies to the highest level, what made them elite, and it talks about level 5 leadership, which I think, yes, it's a business focused book, but it's applicable for everybody.
Parallels,
very so many parallels into coaching and running a team, and so I love that book. Unreasonable Hospitality is a fantastic book that Kenny and I happen to be reading at the same time, and it just talks about being how do you go above and beyond in service, and I think it talks specifically about the restaurant business. Michelin's best, trying to take a particular restaurant to number 1 in the world, but again, parallels to everything that we're trying to do, and just excelling in whatever it is that you do and paying a great attention to detail. And I'll be honest, I think Kenny's taken that and applied it to hosting all these events, and,
cool.
And that's why it's going so well. And then the last one I think is Range, which the first chapter talks about the difference between Tiger Woods and Roger Federer, and how they were both trained so differently, but then they became the best in the world. And everybody knows Tiger Woods' story, and how his dad had him, he was watching his dad hit golf balls in the garage from, when he was in a child's seat. Well, Roger Federer did not play just tennis when he was growing up. He played a bunch of different sports. He was an amazing athlete, and he was very well-rounded. And it talks about in the book how you are more successful at whatever you do if you have a wide variety of abilities. And I feel like I've really tried to dial it into that, and I think it's one of the reasons why I like coaching and why I excel in coaching is because I don't have to do this. I have a lot of different skills and tools that I have honed over time, and I coach because I'm passionate about mentoring young men, and my avenue happens to be through tennis. And so I really was moved by that book and tried to make sure that I don't become too much of an expert in one particular area, that your value has to do with your ability to do many different things. And so those are probably my top 3.
So Range, Good to Great, Unreasonable Hospitality, and we all need to check out Clyde Hart's book as well.
Once around is enough. I think
Once around is enough, yeah. Visiting with Coach Mike Woodson here on the Baylor Coaches Show. Again, we're not coming to you from Rudy's tonight. We are here on campus this evening. Appreciate everyone working to make that pivot. Let's turn your attention again to what's ahead here. Monday, you're going to know where you go. We're talking about the fact that you're kind of right there on the cusp of hosting. I feel like obviously there's a lot of good programs out there. I'd like to think the schedule, as you said, a top schedule in the nation, might be a mark in your favor. I mean, probably the Baylor name is a mark in your favor as well. But I guess this team's ready for whatever comes their way.
No, we're more than ready for whatever's coming. Tennis is interesting in that it's a little bit different than other sports where they go. There's an algorithm. It's a point system. They go straight down the list. And the only time that you'll see teams flip ahead of other programs is if you own a head-to-head win over them. And so we are kind of set where we're at with the number of points and how we did against other teams and what they do this week, the Big Ten tournament, the West Coast Conference tournament, all of these different things will define whether we move ahead of one or two of the teams that are in front of us or not. And so as weird as that sounds, we're big Nebraska fans, we're big Illinois fans, big Pep fans this week. And so, Illinois beat Oregon today. That helps us. We need a couple more victories throughout the week. And there's a world where we could end up as the 15th overall seed. There's a world where we're 17 or 18, and by rule, if it's within 400 miles, we'll be going to Texas, which I don't hate at all. I mean, I think they're a fantastic program, but and they have a great team this year. But I think we match up well with them. So certainly no stranger to the Longhorns.
Well, and certainly, like you said, with the schedule that this team has played, no one is going to show you something you haven't seen
at
this juncture.
We definitely know the level.
You definitely know the level for sure. As you kind of turn the page, how much is it? Is it actually turning the page? What as you talk to the guys, the message of whether it's improving in certain areas, but also kind of building on what you've done. What's that kind of yin and yang look like?
Yeah, we have a ton of confidence because they've won a lot this year. And so I don't really have to worry about talking to the guys in a way that's going to break them down, which is a very nice place to be. That's not always the case. But for them, it's, hey, you guys are actually ready to receive the message. Each of you has a particular pain point, and if that gets pushed hard enough, your weakness comes out. And so we need to work on those particular areas. Some of them have to do with practice and training. Some of them have to do when the bell rings and the match starts. And let's get to those right away. Let's just sit down, let's hash out exactly what that is, and let's go and work on it. Because the tennis, and when you're totally locked in, engaged, focused, on the task at hand, like we're good to go, things are good. And what is it that throws us off in that moment? And it usually comes back to their mind. Something triggers something in their mind that will throw them off. And it's different for each guy. And so we're really dialing in on each individual player, working on those things so that they'll have an opportunity to have success when the bell rings next weekend.
We talked about some of the guys individual, but as we wind down, I'll ask you again, when you looked for leadership on this team, not just play on the court, but leadership as a whole part of that, where are some of the places you kind of look on a stage like this?
I mean, you have to look at the top of the lineup, and the way that we show up at the top, it really does trickle down. So Devin, Oscar Z, those guys have done a fantastic job of leading from the front. And you look to your seniors. We've got 4 seniors that are really willing to do anything for the team. Oscar, Marco, Quentin, and Justin. And so those guys have been fantastic for us. But I really try to pay attention to where are our guys leading when nobody else is watching, or when we're not really calling on leadership. Who's stepping up and doing something? And I've seen a lot of guys really willing to take that on and find opportunities to positively influence their teammates, to hold them accountable, to push them, to pick them up when they're down. I've seen that from guys like Luke, guys like Alex. LJ as a freshman has done a fantastic job of that this year. You would never know he was a freshman if you, other than looking at him, physically, you wouldn't know by interacting with him that this is his first year here. And so really, really pleased with the way that these guys are stepping up to help each other and to push the program forward. They all know they have the same standard that we do, and they want to live up to it. And I think they have some unfinished business going into next weekend.
Yeah, that's exciting. You've really painted a great picture as we've been visiting together of just kind of how self-motivated this team is and that standard.
For sure. It's one of the first teams I've had in a while that I don't feel like I need to be there, and they will do a really good job.
That's a good place to be.
It's a great place to be. I think we always talk about, like, let's try to coach ourselves out of a job. At the end of the day, these guys want to go on. They want to be professionals. They're going to eventually not need us. Like, at some point, we want to become their biggest fan and just kind of sit in the stands and applaud and be proud, of what they're doing. And I think we're starting to get to that point. Once in a while, there's a couple of guys that probably need some attention, but this group is a special one for sure.
So the selection show on Monday, y'all getting together. What's the plans to get together and watch where you're going to go?
I believe that we're doing it at the Herd Welcome Center. It's at 4:30 Central Time on Monday. So we're going to try to get together, hopefully open it up to the public, have some cookies and snacks, and find out where we're going to go. It should be, it's going to be exciting. I feel like we're either going to host or we're going to go to Texas, so it's probably 50-50 at this point. I guess there's a world where Texas A&M hosts. If that's the case, we may go there. But excited for the possibilities, knowing that we'll be either at home or close to home, and hopefully can compete in front of a good Baylor crowd.
Absolutely. Well, we're all pulling for Waco, but we know you'll be great wherever you go here. So that's Monday at 4:30 at the Herd Welcome Center. Well, Coach, best of luck to you. Appreciate you being with us. It's always good to talk to you, and excited for what's ahead. And hope to see you back here in middle of May here, playing once again on that home court, if not before then.
No, for sure. We're really looking forward to it. Thank you so much for having me.
Be a lot of fun. Coach Michael Woodson, Baylor men's tennis